Hi, welcome to Truen Group's Buyer VIP series, and we're going to talk about the difference between the inspection and the appraisal. Hey everybody, welcome to Truen Group. Whatever your real estate needs are, whether you're upsizing, downsizing, you're a first-time homeowner, or you're an investor, maybe you're looking for that vacation property, we're here to guide you. So let's get started. So let's start with the inspection. An inspection is, and it can be a lot of different things, but it's something that we include in the purchase agreement or the offer to purchase, and we're very specific. What are we inspecting? How many days do we have to get the inspection done? And who's paying for it? So the most typical one is the home inspection itself. You, as the buyer, would hire an inspector. They would come into the home and they test so many things. Do the windows and doors open and close properly? Do the sinks hold water? Do the faucets leak? Electric outlets, light switches, are they all working properly? Are they grounded properly? They'll look at the furnace to make sure the CO emissions are below what they should be. If they have access, they will go up into the attic to see what the insulation is. If they have access again, trust me, Minnesota and Wisconsin, sometimes in the winter, you can't get on the roof, but if they do have access, they'll go up there and check the condition of the roof and just a whole bunch of other things. You'll get a report. Now, before COVID, you could be there the whole time, and it could be 2 to 4 hours that this inspector is going through the home, depending on the size of the home and everything included. But since COVID, they've asked that we only come at the end. I typically show up at the end to go over any issues that we need to address. You can be there. The inspector will walk you through the home, point out certain things that he or she has found. So that's the home inspection. Buyer typically pays for it. You can be there. You get a report on everything that the inspector found. You could also require a septic inspection. I know in Washington County here in Minnesota, a compliance report is actually required by the county before the sale of the property. So typically the seller would pay for that. Same with well water, making sure that's safe for you. Again, typically the seller pays for that. If you live in a city and you have city sewer and you have a lot of trees around, sometimes especially if it's older, we want that scoped because that can be something expensive for a buyer to replace. Again, who pays for that and how long you have to get that done is all part of the contract. That's an inspection. Once that's done, typically is when the lender will put in a request for an appraisal. An appraisal is required by the lender to make sure the home is worth the amount that you are borrowing. So if you, again, $300,000 and the home value, you're putting 20% down, they want to make sure they're going to borrow you $240,000. They want to make sure that's the value of the home. Because if it comes below that and you're putting 20% down, they're going to borrow you less than you expect. If it comes above that, yay, you have some equity in the home. What happens with the appraisal is we don't attend. We're kind of like at a distance from the appraiser. They go to the home, they will measure it, they'll make sure it has the right number of bedrooms and baths according to the MLS, the condition of the home, the condition of the neighborhood, any amenities that are there. And then they have this whole standard form they use that they pull out comps of things that are active and properties that are sold, and they come up with an appraised value. You pay that as a buyer, you pay for that report. You don't go to the house during the appraisal. The seller shouldn't even be there most of the time. We just want the appraiser to do their job, get the report done, and get back to us. And so then it could take up to a week once the appraisal happens before you get the report. We know what the appraised value is. Hopefully it's at or above, and we move on. If it's below, then we may have to renegotiate. So again, that all depends on the terms of the contract. So there you have it, the difference between the inspection. Typically, you pay for most of it, and you can be there, and you get a report within 24 hours. The appraisal, you shouldn't be there, and you might take up for a week for you to get that report back. One has to do with condition, one totally has to do with your loan. So that's the difference between inspection and appraisal. I know it's a lot of information, and that's why you need, again, I kind of harp on this all the time, you need your agent to be a full-time professional agent who has experience with these things, and they can explain all the details and everything that's in the contract. So here at Truen Group, we have several agents, and they're all excellent, and we're here to guide you through this process. So if you have any questions at all, please contact us. As a buyer, if you want to know what to look for in the inspection report, you can get a checklist by clicking on the link below.